Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Crockett Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone. Donovan Siddiqui off doing some manly stuff. But I got the Queen Demetra K in the building, and I am the 5-star general. Kevin Samuels say it's Sugardaddy season. Say, man, we got to talk about this here, man. Kevin off the chain, but we're going to dig off into it. I can tell you that. Y'all sit back. We about to go live on it. Say, man, I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone and tell you thank you for taking the time out to hang out with us. Got Demetra K in the building, and I'm the 5-star general, and you know it's about to go down. But I want to start it off by saying that, some of you people need to clearly understand that you don't have to be in public office to have power. The Constitution of the United States, no matter what we may feel, they say it represents all of us. It stands for all of us. And 2 years ago, the school district did something to me, and they banned me and kicked me off the campuses, and I sued them in federal court. And I won. They didn't want me to win, but I won because the First Amendment right applied to me. You may not like how loud I talk in a board meeting. You may not like the way that I say it in a board meeting, but as long as I don't threaten you, you can't stop me from coming to a board meeting and expressing my views. So let me show y'all what it costs when you mess with somebody's constitutional rights. Let me get this up for you. And I know the Chronicle is sick right now because they don't like me. Ain't that a nice picture of me? That's a beautiful picture. But that's what it costs when you come playing with me like that. You see what I'm saying? That's what it costs when you come playing with me like that. $300,000 is what they have to pay my attorney. So what I'm telling you, if you go to city council, commissioner's court, whatever, you have the right to say what you want. If you want to call them monkeys, if you want to call them idiots, you can do all that. It's nothing they can do about it, just as long as you don't threaten them. And they tried to say that I threatened people, but I was in a room with 19 police officers and was never asked to get out the room. So that's where they messed up at, and it cost them $300,000 to solve, to settle this case. But here's the kicker. Hopefully y'all appeal, because you'll lose that too. And when you appeal, that 300 will go up some more. So my lawyer ain't got a problem getting $500,000. And people say, well, how much you get out the 300? I don't want nothing. I never did want nothing. I wanted my voice. You can't take my voice from me. You can't take the right for me to speak away from me. So it cost them $300,000. Now I want to touch on this for a second because human trafficking is a big issue in the world that we live in right now. Human trafficking, prostitution, all that. And I'm trying to find something real quick. Y'all know I get to it. All right. I want to put this up because this is kind of strange to me. Let me see. Can you see that, Demetra? Okay, she can see that. Meet the strip club owner fueling Kim Ogg's political career. There's a strip club owner named Ali Davari. And since 2017, him and his brother have donated $25,000 to the district attorney's campaign fund. Now, there's nothing unethical about her taking it. There's nothing illegal about her taking the money for her campaign. But you're taking money from people that have been sued in court. They've lost a lot of battles in the courtroom, over $1 million for messing over the girls that work in the clubs. But we know what come with those type of clubs. So I'm just asking, because I don't really know some days, is it worth taking this money, Kim, from a group of people who've been sued in court and lost, that dabble in a business that kind of attributes to sex trafficking, prostitution, and everything else? We need to ask ourselves, who are we voting for? sometimes, because everybody's saying she should give the money back. She hasn't given the money back, and I don't think she's going to give the money back. But I just wanted to let y'all know that's what I found. What's going on, Demetri?
Everything is going on. I'd like to say hello to everybody in the comments section. I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday and all of that. So yes, we are here on the War Zone. Donovan, as Gary said, is busy tonight, but he's going to join us. Now, I don't know if we'll be back every night, but we'll be back a couple of times throughout the week, because we all, Gary, myself, and Donovan included, got a million things going on. And so we thought we'd get the band back together, because we did have something that was undeniable, a good show. Just had a little bit of differences. And so, there's this thing called forgiveness and moving on so we can reach a common goal, and that's getting a message out to the people. So I hope that answers any questions that anybody may have. But we're going to start off talking about that of Kevin Samuels. You guys know him. He's infamous, if you will, on YouTube, Instagram, and all of that. And a lot of people who follow him call him Godfather, because I guess they look up to him as some sort of a guru in the relationship, if you will, field. Now, he says he's not an expert like on relationships and stuff. He's actually an image consultant. He is an image consultant, and he was in the field of sales and all of that. But as of recently, he's been hanging out with a woman by the name of Brittany Renner. Now, some of y'all may not know who Brittany Renner is, but some of you may know who she is. She's I don't know, she's an Instagram model, or she was on some show, or not really quite sure where she comes from. But she has about almost 5 million followers on Instagram, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, Kevin Samuel, well, let me get back to her. So Brittany was in the news not too long ago because they say she finessed a basketball player. What's the basketball player's name, Gary? Is it PJ somebody?
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, so she allegedly finessed him out of a lot of money in child support. And when everybody warned him not to get with her because, as they say in the streets, she's a sack chaser. So the rumor was that he is paying her $200,000, but I don't know if that's necessarily how much he's paying. But it sounds like it's a lot, nevertheless. So back to Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels has a lot of messages to a lot of you men out there. And some of those things are, don't talk to women who have children because they're not as valuable for some reason. And you also, we like women who are more natural, who don't have all of the fake stuff going on. And from what I can see, she's got a really big booty that doesn't look real, and probably some other stuff. And so some people will say, oh, well, Kevin is trolling. But it's like, why, if he is trolling, why are you playing around with all of these people who follow you? Like, there's people who women too, I guess, who hang on his every last word, everything he says. And here he is, trolling, I guess, or I don't know if he's trolling what he's doing with her, but he had a video that I saw today, and he's got this filter on that makes him look like an older guy. And he says it's Sugardaddy season, and he's going to open up his, I forget what kind of account it is. I guess it's a Sugardaddy account. And, she's turning around and all of that. And in the comment section, she says, oh, I'm going to rock your world. And he's like, challenge accepted. And he pins the comment. And so some people are like, oh, he's just trolling. It's a business transaction. But it's like, again, he's got millions and millions of followers everywhere who believes everything he says. And so even if he's playing it, I feel that is contradictory to his message. And so I also like to say, most of the men, probably 99% of the men he talks to, will never, ever be able to get a woman like Brittany Renner for a whole host of reasons. So anyway, what you say, Gary?
Well, first of all, the men that listen to Kevin, I would ask them, why are you taking advice from a cheerleader? He used to be a cheerleader. And somewhere in Kevin's past, Kevin got hurt real bad. Somebody did him real bad. That's what I feel. Some bad woman did him real bad. And the thing is, that's something that when we doing these podcasts, these blogs, and we get all these people listening to us, and we get to changing up the narrative, that's something that makes you look like a sucker some days. And I've never been a Kevin Samuels fan. Never. I mean, because I don't believe the little boy can tell me anything. He can't tell me what to do. He don't look like he had pimp tendencies in his past. Don't look like he played the game, the way some players play the game. I just feel that somewhere in his past he got hurt. And that's why he's so tough on women and with the things that he says and those that want to. If you're out there listening to Kevin, then come on down to Third Ward and talk to some of them girls. I guarantee you that conversation Kevin and Gay gonna get your teeth slapped out your mouth. I promise you that. So I just think that we should not, if we're strong men, black, white, whatever, be careful taking advice from an ex-cheerleader.
Yeah, and I want to say this too. Kevin says some things that I would say that are on the money. Like one time he did a show and he was talking about, because people always admonish him for being talking about high valued men. High value man makes $10,000 or more a month, this, that, and the other. But he did a show that spoke to how you remain being that. And I actually thought it was pretty close to a master class, because he was giving some insight of what you need to do to maintain that, like have integrity, be respectable, and discipline and all that stuff. So I thought that was really good. And I thought, well, wow, if he stays on that path, he might draw a lot of other people in, because that was really useful information. But then there's that other part, where he, talks very disparagingly about women. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who follow him who thinks that is the cookie cutter way for women, right? It's certain size, a dress size, and, no kids and all that other kind of stuff. If you don't have children before a certain age, then, you're in geriatric pregnancy. It's just a whole bunch of just stuff that kind of makes you raise an eyebrow.
I think the young man, some days he speaks, he tells some things that are good information. It's good information. But a lot of the days that I've seen him speak, I caught the days that you were talking about where he was talking disparagingly. So, that's what really turned me off from him. Because if a woman is big, women ain't big, they big boned, Kevin. Let's get that straight, man. They big boned, bro. And if you don't like them, somebody else is gonna love them. As far as a man, making $10,000 a month, and if he don't, and we look at him a certain way. My father only made $1,000 a month, and he was more man than I'll ever be. I can tell that to anybody. So it's not the amount of money that you make, is what you do with it and how you handle your business. And I couldn't take advice from him. That's just me. I really couldn't. Just some of the things that he say is just so far in left field that it would make the average guy. And I'm telling you, with real women, man, they'll slap him. They'll slap you with some of the stuff Kevin say. So you got to think about who you're taking advice from. What's the other one that be cutting up? The other dude is Kevin, and the other dude that be saying that got caught with the side piece. You remember the one got caught with the side piece, then had to do the video with his wife?
Oh, Derek Jackson.
Yeah. Be careful who you take advice from, because them two cats, they're going to have you at the hospital, man.
Well, I just think, and I talked about this the other day on my show, groupthink. A lot of us are familiar with the term groupthink, where, especially on the internet, it teaches people who are weak thinkers and who don't have a mind frame of their own to follow the group. So what the group is thinking, everybody else thinks. And so I think that Kevin and Derek, they're masters at being the ringleader of groupthink, because they may not necessarily think that way clearly, by some of the actions we've seen him do. Like Derek got caught cheating with a whole bunch of women, but he's telling women, if your man is this, he's probably cheating, that kind of stuff. And then, here Kevin Samuel is, even if he's joking or not, we don't know. There's no confirmation. But he's hanging out with a woman who's in direct opposition of what he teaches men to be with. And so, but because a lot of these men don't have the, how can I say this? A strong enough mind of their own to think for themselves and to decipher the information and say, okay, well, that's useful, but that's not. He is leading a lot of men into a direction that they can't even obtain by his standards. And so I don't know. I think the internet and the media it's really spurred a lot of groupthink, and groupthink is not good because you won't think outside of the box. You won't think as an individual. You will do what the internet tells you to do. It robs you of critical thinking skills. And we know critical thinking skills are it's rare nowadays. And so the internet, via Kevin and your Derek's, they're telling men what to do and how to think and how to be with people.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, I don't believe you can give advice on something unless you've been through it, unless you've dealt with the subject. And that's why it was so easy for them, like Derek Jackson, to say, if your man is doing this, then he's probably cheating, because you already knew. You already knew what it takes to get that job done. So, that's why I'm saying we have to be very careful with these dudes. Now, you said something earlier that the average guy probably will never be with a woman like the young lady that Kevin was talking about. But I tell you this here, if they Instagram models and they all on Instagram and Twitter and all that, they got what they call meetup prices. They prostituting on the internet. All you got to do is hit the inbox and ask them for the meetup price, and they'll tell you what it costs. They'll tell you what come with it. You see what I'm saying? So that's the new back page. They just got a different way of saying it. And if you go to Twitter, you see more ass than a Playboy magazine. I'm just telling y'all the truth. So, the thing is you probably could be with her if you pay that price. If whatever that price may be, and Lord knows I don't know, but you'd probably pay that price. So, maybe some days it might be cheaper than dealing with, the DM and the meetup price, and just go to the Naked or go to Harlem Nights. I think it's $75.
But see, the men who follow him, they believe that they can be that, or they can get a woman like that. But they're not in the right tax bracket, first of all, to even snag a woman like her. And I don't even know if that's, and you know what? Never mind the fact, I don't even think she's 30 yet. I think she's in her late 20s. And so Kevin's in his 50s, but he kind of talks about that as far as, I guess marrying young women, or I won't say girls, but they're women, they're in their young 20s and stuff like that. So I don't know if, that's what he's doing, but a lot of men wouldn't even be able to get in the same arena as a woman like Brittany. And I'm not saying it because she's a high quality woman. It's because it does seem like she's a sack chaser. And a lot of the dudes that follow him, they punching the clock. She ain't dating no man who's punching the clock somewhere. She's dating a man who could say, well, come on, baby. Where we going? We going to Hawaii? Okay, let's go. She ain't dating no man talking about, well, let me go check my with my boss and see if I can get vacation. She ain't talking to no man like that.
Well, her as well as a bunch of other ones, I wouldn't consider them high quality women. Now, y'all don't get offended, but I keep it real. I don't consider them high quality women, those that do the things that they do. Those are just some high quality hoes. That's all that is. And a lot of days they not even that. Because if you hit them DMs and see what they really charging, man, look here. Man, if the man sent out a $600 stimulus, you knock you off an Instagram model. You can knock you off 2 or 3 of them with a hot 600. But if that's what you think it takes to get somebody like that, then be careful. The basketball player learned a valuable lesson. You know, he got what he had, that kind of money, and now he's stuck. Now he's stuck. So you have to be careful because they plotting. And it's not all women. It's those certain types. If you think I'm lying, go to Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter, make you one. And just go to Twitter and see. It is what it is. You know, they winning for a few, you know, they still winning. They was gonna stop them with the OnlyFans, you know. But I mean, when it don't cost but $9 to look at your private parts, man, what quality are you? And this is what they're charging. Some of them are charging. And the crazy part about it is you're a man, and it take a man like that to get your self-esteem up. Something wrong with you. Something really wrong with you as a man if it take a Kevin Samuels or Derek Jackson to get your self-esteem up. You know, that means somewhere in your life you didn't have that positive male role model in your life on a daily basis. You know, because like I said, if I can be half the man my father was, I'll live a good life. And I think I've done that. And I still don't feel I've measured up to what I saw him do. I don't feel I've measured up to it. So that's how I feel about Kevin. You know, no hating towards my brother, because however you got to get your hustle on, then you do what you need to do. But please don't think that I'm less of a man because I'm a big dude and I'm shorter than you. Well, matter of fact, we might be the same height. I just chose not to be a cheerleader. I chose to play the game of football.
Yeah, he say he's 6'4". Say he's 6'4". I mean, he seems like he is, you know, pretty tall, but yeah, and to your point, you know, there are a lot of men who are following him who didn't have good male role models. And there are a lot of men who are following him who do have or who did have good male role models. But unfortunately, a lot of those men, they can't think for themselves. They need a guru, somebody to tell them how to be with women. And it's like, you mean to tell me, brother, you've been on this planet all this time and this man come along and all of a sudden you green, you don't know how to interact with women. You need him to see. That's the problem I have, I think, with people like your Kevin Samuels and your Derek Jackson, stuff like that. There's a lot of men who need him to define them. Why are you letting this man tell you what a high value man is and what you need to do? I mean, to me, it seems like if you're not a high value man in his opinion, then that would, you know, work on your self-esteem a little bit. I think it would kind of ruin your self-esteem, because let's be honest, a lot of people are not going to make $10,000 a month. It's just not going to, because for one, most of the dudes who listen to Kevin Samuels ain't got the hustle to even go try to make no $10,000 a month. Mm-hmm. Let's keep it real, you know.
Well, I mean, like me, you see me like this on a daily with the old t-shirt on, with the sweats on, with the Air Maxes. And I shocked a few people during the election run when I put the suits on. Oh man, and I had people, grown men, say, man, I like this look, man. Hold on, Playboy. Hold on, bro. But the thing was, what, you thought I was less of a man because this is how I am? When they figured out I put $25,000 into my own campaign. Man, you thought I was broke? Who told you that? I'm not less of a man by anybody's standards. I have my own standards that I've set for myself. And see, maybe you can explain this. Why is it, especially with the African-American community, and we're going to speak on that because we're experts with our community. Why do we have such a low self-esteem when it comes to us some days?
Ooh, boy, that is a loaded question, and I could go all day. We have low self-esteem because, one, we were taught to have low self-esteem, and we don't spend enough time working on ourselves. And when I say that, we don't heal ourselves mentally and emotionally from the things that we've been taught, right? So from little kids, we've been taught, a lot of us, I don't care how much money your parents have had or whatever, we've been taught limitations to some degree, right? Even if, you know, a lot of people, when they were growing up, you had to ask to go get something to eat, right? Mm-hmm. Or you were told, oh, that's too much. You can't have that. And so what you're doing subliminally is teaching your kids limitations. And so when you speak limitations on your kids, they grow up and guess what? They speak that on their kids and then they walk in that. And then when we see other people have stuff, we try to find a reason why they shouldn't have it, right? And then it turns into hate because we have limitations that's been set on ourselves and we do it to other people. But until we fix that, we're going to continue that process. And as Black people too, we often believe we don't deserve to have good things. We don't deserve to live in a nice neighborhood or, wherever you live, for it to be nice. We don't believe that we should have a nice car. Now, I'm not talking about, balling out of control with a car you can't afford, but just having nice things. And so when you see other people with it, you're like, well, they must be doing something nefarious. Oh, it got to be something going on because they have those things instead of saying, well, hell, if I get my mind right, I can have it too.
I think you got to set yourself up to have nice things. I think what motivated me, it wasn't a man, it wasn't a woman, it was palm trees. And when I say that, people will think I'm joking, but I flew to LA to work on my first album. I was doing my own album by myself. And when I got off the plane, when you leave in LAX, you're passing palm trees and everything. And as I'm passing, I'm seeing Bentleys and Benzes. And so I just figured out that LA was a city of deals, book deals, movie deals, record deals. It's some kind of deals going on. And then when I got to hang around the natives, and I made sure I went to the jungle, I went to Watts, I went everywhere. Everybody was on their hustle. I'm being honest with you, you got haters no matter where you go. But everybody that I met was just trying to hustle. And some were hustling and balling out the gym, and some were just hustling to survive. But at the same time, they were all making deals. So when I finished working on the album, I cut a deal while I was there. I knew how to sing hooks. And I met a guy named Strat that wanted some hooks. He had a studio. So I gave him 5-6 hooks. He mixed and mastered my whole album. So we cut a deal. So when I got back home, I'm around these dudes that's just talking and, man, hold on a second, man. Them palm trees got me motivated, partner. They got me motivated. So I was like, I always wanted a fly car. And I just was blessed, the other day to get another one. And when I say I'm on car number 66, people think I'm lying. So that's why I'm like, it's certain things that can motivate you to go get it. But I just think the fact that what really motivated me throughout all that is I was just tired of being broke. I was just tired of being broke. I'm tired of the struggle. I'm tired of, getting a paycheck and knowing as soon as I get it that it's gone. No, I want to be able to get the paycheck, put it in the bank, and I don't need to use it. That's what motivated me to get off my behind and go get it. But I also knew that I couldn't become wealthy making somebody else rich. So what that meant is if I'm going to get to where I want to get financially, I had to work for myself. That was my motivation.
Yeah, and that was my motivation too. I've told you guys before, I used to work at Chase Bank. It's the first and only job I've ever been fired for. I was erroneously fired, and they had to pay a fine and all that for firing me. But, it was a blessing in disguise. And it's funny because when I got fired, I was scared for like 5 minutes. And then I was like, wait a minute, what you scared for? And then I went on and did bigger and better things. But I call it a blessing in disguise because I wasn't supposed to be there. I was supposed to be working for myself. Like when I walked into, and that's why I can't have a job, like a punch a clock job. And I know this is going to sound kind of crazy, but I get anxiety even just thinking about punching in somewhere. And listen, I'm not shading or shaming anybody who has a job because I say this too. If I ever needed to go work one, I will, even if it's temporary. So don't mistake me when I say this, but I'm saying for me, the thought of having to go punch a clock and go answer to somebody, or ask somebody when I can go on vacation and is it my break time? And I'm like, first of all, I'm grown and I'm not going to ask no other grown person can I do this, that, and the other? But when I was working at the bank, it seemed like the moment I walked in the door, it was like this blanket of anxiety and stress. And it was just the worst 8 hours there. When I left, it just felt like a cloud came off of me. And so when she fired me, like I said, I was kind of nervous and stuff for 5 minutes. But then when I realized that now it's either do or die, either you're going to go find another job and find somebody to be your master per se and rule over you and tell you what you can and cannot do, or you're going to go, and even if it's tough and it's rough, you're going to stick it out and find what it is God put you on this planet to do and pursue that. Come rain or shine, no matter what happens, you are not looking back. And I tell you, it has not always been easy. And in fact, up until a couple years ago, it was rough. I'm talking about like rough, like I don't know how I'm gonna pay my car note, rough. But I was like, I'm not going to go back to that, because I would rather collect cans 8 hours a day than to go back to a job where somebody has their thumb on me. And to your point, Gary, where you making somebody else rich instead of figuring out how to make yourself rich.
Well, I can tell you that I've had several jobs in corporate America. One of them, I was a chef manager. I was a cook, a chef on a drilling rig for 12 years. And I remember that last day like it wasn't nothing. I'm downstairs, I'm cutting some onions, getting ready to prepare the lunch meal. And a white guy, they called them service hands. They just showed up on the rig, do some work, and then they fly them back out. For whatever the reason, he had to stay a couple of days. So every morning about 10:30, one of the utility hands that was under me would have to go into the rooms and clean up. That was his job, to clean up that room and make those beds. And he went in there, and the man comes storming downstairs. I'm in the kitchen now. I'm cutting onions. Say, I want to talk to you. What's your problem? I done told that up there, don't come in that room. Well, hold on, man. He got to go up in there and do what he need to do. I'm sorry, but that's the way it goes. He got to clean the room. So when the guys get off work, their room is clean, their laundry's done. I'll come around that corner and I'll gut you, boy. What? You come around this corner, I'm going to cut you everywhere except under your feet. I promise you that's what I'm going to do. Better yet, I tell you what. I walked out the kitchen. I walked down to the office. I need a helicopter right now. And I was done. Because I wasn't going to take that. And I had taken it for a while. Now, I want you to understand the type of people that came on this rig. White guys from Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. These are the type of people that I was dealing with. And at the end of the day, I'm not finna do this. I'm not gonna do this. So, that's when I found my niche and started doing contracts with big stadiums, running concession stands all over the country. And I ended up getting sick, and that's what stopped me. And after that, I fell into education advocacy. That's where I what I'm doing now. And honestly, I work for myself. I get up when I choose to get up. I go to work for my clients. I'd had 2 assignments. One assignment today was an hour, $700 in an hour. You see what I'm saying? The other assignment may be a little bit longer, but think about it. 2 assignments in one day, $1,700. Okay, I can live with that. But I'm not finna go back and punch that clock. I can't do it. Because that's where I feel that I'm less of a man. I'm less of a man. So where was your bosses at when this pandemic started? If your people that you work for didn't take care of you, why are you still working for them? Why are you still punching that clock? You see what I'm saying? And that's why, we can talk politics all day. 9 times out of 10, you strong black Democrats are punching the clocks of a Republican. I'm just telling y'all.
Yeah, I mean, and again, no shame to anybody who's punching the clock. I mean, like I've done it for years. I did it for years. And like I said, I mean, if I absolutely had to, I would do it until I figured something else out. But like I said, just for me, I just couldn't. I can't deal with the stress of being confined and having a boss. I mean, even if you have your own clients, they're your boss to some degree. But like you said, you dictate your time, when you wake up, and who you want to deal with, because I feel like it's working with people, it's an interview. It's a two-way process. I have to decide if I want to even work with you. All money ain't good money. But I think what people don't understand too is, especially when you do work for yourself, there are times when you have feast and famine. There are some lean times, but that's when you save your money, because when you're working for yourself, sometimes you might have a dry spell or whatever, but you figure that kind of stuff out. But you don't get scared enough to go back to a job, because you're more determined and more certain than your circumstances that I'm going to make it. If somebody else is making it, if Jeff Bezos is making it, and everybody else out there with these multi-billion-dollar companies and all, if they making it, I can make it too. God didn't give them something extra than it gave me. Yeah, as Black people, we got white supremacy working against us, but imagine if we work together, how many more people we could pull off, the plantation, as my dad would say. Imagine how many more people we could pull off the plantation if we build our own businesses, and figured out a way to hire our own people. And I have this background behind me, and it's funny because I've had it for 3 weeks or so. And somebody finally asked me, what is that? Well, that background is that of Madam C.J. Walker's home, Via Lararo, where, she had all of her people that work for her and different people there. They took that picture. But you guys know Madam C.J. Walker's story. Hell, she was a washerwoman fresh out of slavery. Her parents were slaves, and she had the most horrible life ever, and she decided this is not for me. And so she did the hair products and all that. And Madam C.J. Walker is accredited for being the first multi-level market person. She engineered that to where, like the Avon style thing, you hire a bunch of women or people to go out and sell Avon. Well, she pioneered that. And this lady came from being a washerwoman, washing white people's clothes, to owning that big giant house behind me and a multi-million-dollar business, which she was the first millionaire, right? She was a daughter of a slave. She was not, relegated to, well, my mama was a washerwoman, I'm gonna be a washerwoman. So the reason why I have that back there is to remind me when I'm looking at this screen what it is I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to settle for less. I'm not trying to settle for peanuts. I'm humble, but I want to do better. So if Madam C.J. Walker can do it when she didn't have all of the technology and all of that, then what's wrong with you? What's wrong with me?
I think the pandemic was probably one of the best things that happened to Black America, because it forced a lot of us that were not entrepreneurs to become entrepreneurs, because you couldn't punch your clock. For a long time, you couldn't punch your clock. You were at the mercy of a stimulus that they decided when you would get it. You feel what I'm saying? So I know several people. I know Terrence that watched this show. He's a devoted watcher. Man, the man, we got him a lawnmower and a weed eater and a blower, and went out there and started cutting grass. You see what I'm saying? Started making more money than what he was making at his regular job.
And he trying to hire people.
Exactly. my dad Skinner did the same thing. I mean, another young lady I know her, I know her sons. She put her money towards a food truck. See, the thing is in the Black community, you can become a millionaire because we don't have any restraint with spending our money. We just need to figure out what they want to buy. And a whole bunch of y'all on them clothes know a whole bunch of people open boutiques. Even though they were in the midst of a pandemic and couldn't go nowhere, they wanted to look nice in their house. So if you started an online boutique, you made money. Elvante Patton, man, this guy was a teacher. Teachers couldn't go to school. When they decided to go back, the man started his own tutoring service, because he knew that kids would struggle with those laptops. You see what I'm saying? You just have to be creative when it comes down to getting your money. And that's the problem with us. We want to shine, but we don't want the grind. We want the shine, but we don't want the grind. We don't want to. If you think it's easy being an education advocate, you crazy. No, it ain't. I've mastered it. Took 10 years to figure that out. My first 3 years, I didn't make any money. But then, I'm like, I got to put some money on this thing, man. And I've studied and figured out how to do it. And now I'm able to do what I need to do. So just imagine it's 31 days in a month. So 15 days out that month. Imagine if I made $1,700 for 15 straight days. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is you guys can make the same money if you stop believing in the 40-40-40 plan. What the hell is the 40-40-40 plan? Some of y'all know, some of y'all don't because you're new. The 40-40-40 plan is you got to stop believing you got to work 40 hours a week for 40 years to get 40% of what you make. Okay, I worked 40 hours a week for 40 years. Can I get 100% of what I made? No, they're going to give you 40%. And then on top of that, they're going to tax you on it. You see what I'm saying? So if you think you're going to retire, you're going to get Social Security, they finna show you in a few years about that too. So you better put a plan together so that you can figure it out. People talk down on them some days, turkey leg hut. I don't eat that much turkey, but somebody do. Man, to turn that into a multi-million-dollar business. You see what I'm saying? Because we have no restraint. We're going to spend money no matter what.
You better tell it. Black people are consumers. And we spend money. We spend more money than anybody in this country. Black people do. And as Gary said, we buy clothes. Because we're the trendsetters. We make things hot, right? We like to eat out. Like you said, how is it that a turkey leg hut is making millions and millions and millions of dollars? Millions of dollars. Turkey legs. Because we like to do those things. And so the problem, I think, with us in business is we always trying to reinvent stuff. But as Carter G. Woodson said in The Miseducation of the Negro, do the stuff that we've been doing. Revolutionize the things that we need. We still need clothes. We still need somebody to dry clean the clothes. We still need food. So where's the grocery stores? Where's the restaurants? As Farrakhan said, if we eat bread, we should be, planting seeds to grow wheat, harvesting the wheat, making the bread, putting it into a store and selling it. It's really that simple. But we trying to go do, stuff that's just kind of like, I don't want to say weird because there's been weird things, but we forget about the normal stuff that we need. We going to eat. We going to put on clothes. We want to be entertained. So the simple things, that we do, we need to get back to those things, right? Like, when is somebody going to build a grocery store? We need those things. Imagine if we got a store and the people with the restaurants, they come and get some of the stuff from the stores and the people. So it's levels to it, but we have to just decide that we want to do something bigger and better with our lives. And until then, it's just going to be what it is. And I like what you said too, Gary, the 40-40 plan. A lot of people putting a lot of money into their 401ks. Oh, I got a 401k. Yeah, they're gonna tax the mess out of it when you retire. You ain't gonna. It looks nice on that statement now, but when you get ready to retire, they're gonna take a big chunk of that because it was put in there before they took the taxes out, pre-tax. So
this is my next project. I brainstormed it today. It just came to me. PAVIS. What is PAVIS? Let's go slow. Parents Against Violence in Schools. You think I ain't finna make a mint? I'm gonna teach you how to make it go away. But I ain't gonna just do it in Houston. I'm gonna do it all over the country. Now, some people may say, well, I can do that. Not if you're not an expert in it. But the thing is see, you from California. That boy said something a long time ago. Ain't no fun if your homie can't have none. So guess what? I ain't got no problem teaching you how to make the money. I ain't got no problem. People think white people are so devious, and white folk ain't got no problem teaching you how to make money. You know why? Because they ain't afraid that you're going to do shit with it. They will teach you. They will give you the game. How many times y'all sitting out there, let's just be honest. How many times has somebody given you the game and you didn't do nothing with it? Give me the game. I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. Because I'm not gonna play with it. I went help my partner in Minute Maid Stadium 20 years ago, one night at an Astros game. How much you making off this? How much is the overhead? He said, ain't no overhead. You just need to have the workers. Oh, okay. And I went one night. And then all of a sudden, let's flip it 3 years later, I got every venue in Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, Charlotte, New Orleans, Austin, San Antonio, because I knew it was money in every spot. You see what I'm saying? Just like the other night before that stuff went haywire at the Travis Scott concert, them vendors made a killing. You would already paid $250, $300 to get in, and then the first place you go run to is to get you a t-shirt. You see what I'm saying? You got to get you a souvenir. It ain't nothing on that table under $25. Nothing. That $25 shirt you just bought probably cost $6. So they made $19 on it. So I think we just need to figure out where we're great at and then just go from there. But I know you can't get wealthy. Ain't nothing wrong with being rich. See, rich is now. Wealthy is generational. You will never become wealthy making somebody else rich. It's not going to happen.
That is a fact. But, it takes a paradigm shift. We have to believe that we can. There's people out there that believe more in the job that, they go punch a clock at than they believe in themselves, But I always think, well, what if that job called you one day, especially if you don't have another source of income, right? Because we know wise people have multiple streams of income. But what if that job called you one day and says, I know you're getting ready to come to work, but don't come because we decided to do something else. We're going to give you a little bit of severance, but, from here on out, you're on your own. And, a lot of times people think because I've been at a company for so long, oh, they would never let me go, or they love me. I worked in a warehouse, and I know most people are only as valuable as the boxes, and sometimes they're not even as valuable as the boxes or the product that's in that warehouse. And a lot of times you're the equivalent of that box. A lot of times, companies that say, well, we're going to put people first. They don't put people first. And if they put people first, they wouldn't have you working like a Hebrew slave, 10, 12 hours a week, 6, 7 days a week. They would understand, well, we'll pay you a decent wage so you can work 8 hours, 5 days a week, and you go home and have a nice time with your family and all of that. They would do that, but they don't care about people. But I just wonder, what would you do if your job called you and said, this is it?
Well, you know what? When you're in those situations, a lot of times when that job calls you and tell you that they don't want you no more, it changes your life drastically, because all of a sudden you don't have health insurance anymore. All of a sudden you don't have life insurance anymore because you banked on that job and those benefits that they gave you, some of them companies really raping you out your money. Your whole life changes when you get that phone call. And then some of y'all cannot even make the adjustment because you've invested so much of your time, your energy, your heart into this company. You were at the company more than the person that owned it. And then one day you wake up and then they don't need you. Out there during the elections, I had to constantly go to Home Depot and get poles and straps for my signs. And the first time I went, I was like, where we check out at? They say, you check out right over there, self-checkout. I said, okay, but where's the one with the cash register? Oh, we don't have that in here. So they got rid of all the cashiers at the Home Depot I was going to. The same way they're gonna revolutionize this thing and get rid of a lot of you fast food workers. You can already go to McDonald's and not have to deal with the lady at that nasty attitude at the counter no more, because now you get to order your food from the kiosk and then they just bring over what you want. So if you are steadily sitting back and thinking that the world is not evolving, and you're going to get caught. And when you get caught, I don't know what to tell you.
And the world is evolving. How do you think all of these people in the tech industry, Elon Musk, your Jeff Bezos, and your Mark Zuckerbergs, and all those people, how you think they making money? Is through AI. It was prophesized a long time ago. Hell, if you even watched the movie Terminator, it told you that artificial intelligence was going to take over. Now, when we were watching that in the 80s, we thought, oh, ha, ha, what a great movie, sound effects and all of that. But here we are. AI is here. AI is here and it is taking over everything. As Gary said, you go into a fast food restaurant, you don't need to deal with nobody. I mean, hell, Kroger's, HEB, Walmart. Hell, Walmart, I was there last week. They only had 2 cash registers open and the rest of them were self-checkout. So if you're like some people, well, I'm going to make the cashier do their job and I'm going to wait. Yeah, you're going to wait in the line 30 minutes or so, opposed to going to self-checkout. And that line was long too. But the point is, they're getting rid of a lot of service industry jobs. And just look at this. They have a labor surplus, which means they got a lot of jobs out there and people are not going back to work. So y'all don't think somebody's not sitting in the room right now talking about, okay, well, since they don't want to come back to work, let's go ahead and create these machines to do the jobs that these people would come and do. That's what they are doing. And so I used to work at a warehouse in the 90s. 95, I started working at Frito-Lay and everything was boxed. Everything was manual. Everything you did, a human had to do. They said that warehouse that I work at now is 70% ran by artificial intelligence. Where did all those jobs go?
Miss Cravens asks, she says, education too. Online education, do you think face-to-face will diminish? It's already diminished in countries that are not called the United States of America.
It's diminished here too. And I don't tell you how I know, but I know it's diminished here as well.
and I'm going to be honest with you. I go to school online. I love it. I work at my own pace. I don't have somebody like you say in on a job with that thumb on your back. I don't have a teacher with a thumb on my back. And a lot of these kids can't make that adjustment because you have to have a lot of patience when you're going to school online, and you have to be serious about it. And if you're serious about it, you got to make time to do your work. And I think that that's the way that it's all going to go. You know, and those of us that are just set and stuck in our ways, like our last name is Clampett, then you will definitely be back in the hills with the hillbillies doing what you do, because this world is steadily moving. And that's the thing. Even our leadership, that's why we need younger leadership, because some of these older people are just stuck in their ways and they don't want things to change, but it's slowly changing. It's changing every day. And I just think that we can do better. We just got to want to do better. But I'm not waiting on y'all to do better no more. I'm gone.
I will say this, everything in life, I don't care what it is. If you don't evolve, you will die out. If you don't embrace evolution in every aspect of your life, you will die out. Like you said, you want to be Jed Clampett and all of that. Well, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. If it ain't broke, why fix it? Well, there's going to come a time, and I don't like to speak doom and gloom, but I tell people the perfect example is that of, was it Barnes and Nobles, opposed to Amazon. Barnes and Nobles, I know there's a few of them, Borders and all of that. I think it was Borders that completely closed, but a lot of those brick and mortar bookstores, they saw what Amazon was doing with that Kindle. You can get the book online and on your Kindle, but they didn't evolve. They thought, oh, well, that's a fluke. Oh, well, that's just not going to last. And that Kindle put them out of business because people are like, oh, you mean I don't have to get in the car, use gas, go to a bookstore and thumb through all the shelves of the books? I can get me a machine and then click a couple of buttons, pay for a book, and it's here? Oh, okay. And so I use that example because that's the same thing that happens with people. People don't want to evolve, and the comfort zone is eventually going to become your prison. And to another a morbid example, it's going to become your coffin. Keep staying in that comfort zone and not want to evolve and get outside of your box. It's going to be your box and not the box you like.
I just think that especially African American people, we're behind the eight ball. We've always been behind the eight ball, and a couple of us figured out a way to get from behind the eight ball. And I think we wasted so much time trying to get y'all to grab your last pieces of clothes, put it on a stick, and let's all escape the plantation. I done spent too much time doing it. So, the way I feel about it, you stay around here if you want, but I'm finna run to freedom. I'm finna run to freedom, man. I can't keep doing this. And I can't keep worrying about the ones that don't want to do it because they're comfortable. Y'all that continuously depend on the government, they're gonna control you lock, stock, and barrel. Like with the jab. What stops them right now from saying if you're on public assistance, you mandatory have to get the jab? You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna go line up and go get it.
And we talked about that.
You're gonna line up and go get it.
We talked about that a year ago. It's coming. They probably gonna mandate that as well. I mean, Joe Biden is, he's really doing a bang up job there at the White House. So
yeah, he's showing his naked right now.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if they say that in order for you to continue getting these benefits, you need to, roll your sleeve up, if you will. I wouldn't doubt it.
I mean, I think it's coming sooner than later because not enough people are buying into it. And you know what's so crazy? And even with that they cater, they pander the African American community. You don't see all this going on in suburban white America. You don't see this going on in the affluent communities. It's not happening. So they come to the people that are the most vulnerable, and they come and make you do things that require you to have to continue to depend on them. I think all of y'all need to look at trying to start a business. And it don't have to be a big business starting off. Just start something that can create another stream of income for you. But I'm gonna tell you one company that's struggling, and no matter what they say, their earnings in every quarter is going down. Walmart is struggling. Walmart is struggling because Amazon is going to put them out of business. They are going to put them out of business. Who'd have thought it? Sam Walton would have never thought it when he was living them last few years that some company would come through with how they were doing it. And who else could you depend on when the pandemic started? Honestly, except for Amazon.
Man.
If it wouldn't have been for Amazon, a whole bunch of us would have been left out in the cold.
Yeah, Amazon, they rewrote the game, and it's put Sears, Kmart, and a whole host of other businesses out of business because they just cannot keep up. And like you said, right now, the things that are making money is convenience meets technology. So if you can figure out a business where it's convenient for people and there's some technology involved, I mean, like Gary said, if you need something, Amazon got it. You go on there on your phone, your computer. Oh, I need a hat. Go on there and it could be here tonight, depending on if they have it available, or it could be here tomorrow. So
I mean, instead of listening to Kevin, telling you what kind of woman you need to get, go to Amazon. Go to Amazon. Whether you're a woman or a man, go to Amazon. It's cheaper.
Yeah, but you know what though? I was thinking the people who didn't quit their job but didn't want the jab was the people who didn't believe they can go do something else without that job. Those are the people who rolled up their sleeves even though they didn't want to do it. They did it because they was like, well, what else am I going to do? The people who left, they said, I'll figure it out. Maybe it's time for me to start a new business. Or I don't know, go somewhere where they're not mandating it just yet, but they weren't afraid to leave. So if you let a job do any and everything to you for a check, I mean, I don't know what else to say. And listen, again, I'm not coming from a position of I got it all figured out. I mean, I was once there too, but when I changed my belief system, I don't let fear run my life. I just don't. Me and fear don't run in the same circle at all.
Not at all. So I'm the same way. I set myself up, and I don't think you saw either one of us, all three of us, me, Demetri, or Donovan, break a sweat during the pandemic. We didn't, because we were smart with what we were doing. You see what I'm saying? We were smart with what we were doing. We were smart with the way we spent our money. We were smart with the way we saved our money. We were smart with the ways we invested to make more money. And I didn't need nobody to tell me what I needed to do. If I got some stock tips, I'm gonna run with them. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of us didn't take advantage of all the free money that we got. That was your money to start your business, and you didn't take advantage of that. So now you got to deal with it. Final thoughts, Ms. Demetri.
No, I was just looking at I am John 836 Craven. How you doing? And she says, if people don't stand up, people will be slaves. And she's absolutely right. You know, we've seen it happen time and time again in history. People, you know, falling for anything, allowing people to tell them how to think, tell them what to think, tell them what to do, instead of just saying, hey, you know what? Let me go do some critical thinking and I'm going to figure this out for myself. But yeah, I mean, at some point in time, you're going to have to do it. And Black people, like, time is up for us. We keep thinking we have all the time in the world. Like, we just dilly-dallying. I'm just getting along. I'm fair to middling, while everything in the world is passing us up. Everything. And like, it's just like, it's always like playtime for us. And I just, for the life of me, don't get it. But I'm on one of those kicks now, and I've always been there, but I've really gotten back into it, evolving, you know, becoming a better person from head to toe, inside out, so that, you know, I could be, you know, just a better person and a better person for other people as well. But we better quit playing around, because it's serious.
Well, they're not taking the slave comment serious because they don't believe it can happen. That's what the problem is. But it can happen. It definitely can happen. So for me, it's better to have money and not need it than to need it and not have it. That's real. I mean, say it's a reason why we the best in the business. Every night, 7 o'clock. It's the War Zone, Facebook and YouTube. I want to thank you on behalf of my good friend Demetri K. I am the 5-star general. I won't be here tomorrow night. I got a playoff football game to go to. I'll be here Friday though. And until then, we'll holler at you.